Takeda has a long history of focusing on life-transforming therapeutic treatments. A focus on the rare disease therapeutic area, specifically within orphan drug designated diseases, will allow for Takeda to focus on populations of patients with high unmet needs. This hyper-niche market will allow for Takeda to focus on diversified growth while engaging in strategic preemption. Our recommendation is to focus on orphan drug designated development using a hyper-niche differentiation strategy paired with M&A. Additionally, we recommend an internal audit of the pipeline to divest non-key products and avoid developing new indications or mechanisms of action without the use of strategic partnerships. Founded in 1781, Takeda has a long history and has entered into multiple medical-related industries over the years. However, Takeda has taken multiple strategies and actions to change and grow. Most notably, Takeda has undergone divestitures of their non-core competencies, engaged in M&A, and strategic partnerships to align the company with its new core strategy. On this slide, we dive deeper into the strategic actions that Takeda has historically taken. In 2000, they divested some of their non-core businesses in order to align on a focus on the pharmaceutical segment. Over the past 2 decades, they have also integrated multiple companies, allowing for it to expand into new therapeutic areas and develop new technologies for their drug development. And more recently, Takeda has entered into multiple strategic partnerships to help facilitate the development of new therapies. These strategic partnerships help Takeda from a cost perspective and allow them to participate in the development of new technologies and drugs. On this slide, we dive deeper into Takeda's current therapeutic focus and their current pharmaceutical strategy. On the left-hand side, we can see that there are 5 primary areas that Takeda is focusing on: rare diseases, oncology, gastrointestinal and inflammation, plasma-derived therapies, and neuroscience. On the right-hand side, we can see the market growth potential for these therapeutic areas, calling out the 2 highest growth and biggest areas, rare diseases and oncology. Over the next 10 to 12 years, we can see that rare diseases and oncology are expected to experience very large growth. By focusing in these areas, Takeda is setting themselves up for a long-term growth and market share growth. Moving away from therapeutic area and focusing on geographic reach, we can see that Takeda is a global firm able to sell its drugs across the world. However, they do concentrate in the United States, which is the largest pharmaceutical market in the world. But Europe and the emerging markets are expected to grow faster than the US, and Takeda could benefit from focusing in these markets to experience faster growth.
Thanks, Ian. There are 3 primary strategic focuses Takeda conducts across business ventures with their own unique advantages and limitations. For example, Takeda's commitment to a triple bottom line allows them to plan for dynamic social changes and regulations. They step back at each business decision and determine its impact on the patient, employees, and the environment. This investment does impose an opportunity cost of only pursuing sustainable indications and limits the available partners and suppliers committed to sustainable business practices. And speaking of partners, by centralizing new indication growth around partnerships, Takeda successfully de-risks the capital-heavy R&D costs prior to first sales. And although this allows Takeda to conduct over 30 active trials in their pipeline simultaneously, it comes at the cost of full ownership over successful ventures. And the lack of full ownership comes at a greater premium at research and development phases compared to other phases, as the head and tail of industry value chains often provide the greatest value creation. And finally, Takeda utilizes AI training and analysis to sharpen the core competencies of workers. By keeping core competencies in-house, Takeda decreases dependency on partners at a higher level of the industry value chain, such as marketing or sales. But Takeda must consider active continuous assessment of core competencies when engaging in closed-circuit optimization, else an echo chamber could form and competencies will become liabilities in a changing environment. Considering the strategies Takeda currently pursues, we propose 3 expansions to the current strategies to ensure an upward growth trajectory and relevancy in the modern global market. First, we recommend expansion into tropical diseases. By utilizing Takeda's current assets and competencies in orphan-designated diseases, neurology, and inflammation, the expansion to tropical diseases would bypass potential barriers to entry. By building off current strategies, Expansion into tropical diseases such as cryptococcal meningitis would also curry social favor and build social trust in their mission of global sustainability. The market would also be insulated by primarily government and NGO customers distributing the successful medicines, in addition to expedited review vouchers from the FDA, worth upwards of $150 million per indication. Secondly, Takeda should divest in non-key pipeline positions. Historically, the pharmaceutical industry has shown divestment in such assets associated with reduced costs, such as PowderJet divesting non-vaccine programs in favor of their core competency in vaccines. This divestment allows for a capital boost for projects with stronger strategic alignment and long-term potential. Finally, Takeda should minimize the entrance into new indications and mechanisms of action without adequate partnerships. Tying this concept back to tropical diseases, without the local proper partners, Takeda has greater potential to overextend while neglecting their key position of a rich merger and acquisition system as well as partnership management. And for this reason, we recommend turning attention away from their home country of Japan, as they already wear the crown of incumbent innovator. Instead, Takeda should look to emerging markets, such as Brazil, to generate the largest value innovation growth. Two keys to success in Brazil are the integration of manufacturing and production capabilities paired with the marketing to increase local consumer demand. Brazil currently lacks the capabilities in the second half of the industry value chain, and Takeda's introduction, paired with their expertise and partnerships, should lead to a successful venture.
Thanks, Dane, for providing that assessment. Critical parts of Takeda's strategic management parallel what we've learned in our course this semester. Through globalization, Takeda has cemented itself within the top tier of pharmaceutical companies, with more than 50,000 employees working in over 80 countries or regions, 169 subsidiaries, and 22 global manufacturing sites that create large economies of scale. Annually, risks relating to their global business strategy are reported, where they consider political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors that may disrupt their business. They closely monitor, review, and revise sourcing strategies from products identified at risk, and when necessary, build internal capacity and secure dual sources to reduce outsourced dependency. They also evaluate cultural, administrative, geographic, and potential economic disruptions and have recently cited entering emerging markets that are prone to corruption or recent significant events in the Ukraine or Middle East that have disrupted logistics, transportation, energy, and other industries. Corporate integration strategy vertically is almost completely outsourced, using over 100 contractors to maintain its supply and manufacturing chain, and frequently horizontally integrated, as Ian noted, though Takeda maintains operation effectiveness by concentrating on developing internal efficiency and focusing more on strategic alliances with promising lucrative licensures. Dane mentioned patient, people, and planet as the philosophy that drives the company, and it is also the backbone of their strategic framework. Its comprehensive strategic framework is driven by leadership to develop talent throughout all levels of the company, providing the structure and resources to enrich that talent within a company culture where this improvement and innovation is expected. The strategic philosophy undoubtedly contributes to the company's competitive advantage, as its products are of high quality, address rare and undefined niches, creating value associated with the brand. Finally, Porter's 5 external market forces are considered, and Takeda has strategically and powerfully positioned itself well between both buyers and sellers. It's not immediately vulnerable to new entrants to the market nor substitute products because of regulations or the high upfront financial and technological costs needed to compete with this global machine specializing in niche markets.
Thank you so much for taking the time to watch our presentation on Takeda Pharmaceuticals. On behalf of our team, Errol, Dane, Ian, and myself, we really appreciate your attention and hope you found the analysis insightful. If you have any questions or feedback, we'd be happy to hear from you. Thanks again and have a great day.